Next presenter is Alexandra von Muralt. She is a career coach at Papillo Consulting, and she will be talking about how to be a succeeding job seeker in the current times we are in. So, Alexandra, please go ahead and take the stage.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Do I need to do something, or do you give me the screen?
You can click on the green button. It says share screen to share the presentation.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, you can just go on full screen and we would
Give
be
me
able
1
to see it better.
second. I'll have to take it back. So
We can.
now I think you should see it.
Yes, now we can see it.
Great. So yes, I'm going to talk about how to be a succeeding job seeker in the current times. And I'm very happy to have heard a lot of inspiring things about yours already that some of them I will challenge because of the current times, and some of them I pretty much agree on. A bit about me here in pictures. I like butterflies. It's for me a good symbol of transformation. Also the times, I see the current times also as very transformational times. Then I'm Swiss. That's the picture on the left from the mountains, one of the highest lakes we have in Switzerland. Down my Zurich home city. I will come to that a bit later, what is also special in Switzerland in case you are like to apply in Switzerland. I love networking. I've been at the tech job fair in Zurich last week. It's challenging for me to only work virtually, but I think it's truly great that I can speak here. Thank you very much again. And also, I think there's great opportunities to also do virtual networking. And last but not least, my last picture covers a bit of my art love, my plants, and my love for also good education. I'm currently also in a postgraduate program at University of St. Gallen. This is me, formerly me, urban gardener, writer, outdoors international family. I have family from about 4 continents, so I'll try to cover that as well today, kind of the international part, and then coming back to Europe and Switzerland. Sylvia has said it, I work as a career coach for more than 10 years now, and also recruit for one of the biggest online marketplaces in Switzerland as a talent acquisition manager, also with employer branding responsibilities. I'm also a mentor at University of St. Gallen, community builder, oops, sorry for the typo, board member, and then Zurich native. I'm very proud of my Zurich, of my city, and has all its pros and cons to not be within the European Union, but actually have a pretty great country and a pretty great working environment. So my question first, I'd like to ask you, and I'd appreciate some answers also in the chat functions. When did you last send a formal application? Silvia, can you help me if there's answers coming in, or how could I see them?
Yes, so Neil says 5 months ago, Morteza says 6 months ago, Satya says a month ago. If you click on the chat button, you would be able to see the responses to everyone. They're
great. So some pretty long ago and some recently. Okay.
Someone says today.
Oh, great.
And yesterday, yeah.
Great. So you all are still doing it or have to do it. Exactly. So the CV, a bit similar like what yours says, is a first big impression, first handshake, I usually call it, and now it's the virtual handshake. meaning that whatever we kind of tried to do also previously changes a bit slightly. I'll come to that later in more details. And the 20-second rule will actually might be even 17 seconds. I say usually you get 20 seconds if you apply for any jobs, because most recruiters are pretty busy, and also the hiring managers are in meetings and running late in meetings, checking the CVs on their phone only or as a first impression on their phones. So usually you get 20 seconds, and within those 20 seconds you have the chance to virtually impress the opponent, the person who's reading it. The required CV components, I recommend a picture. I especially recommend a picture right now. I feel that in the current times with the remote work, we even more seek the emotional connectedness, and the picture can actually provide this emotional approach, and therefore I highly recommend it, especially in Western Europe. In Switzerland, we kind of have it on most CVs. Address, birth date, marital status. The reason why I also put there the marital status is because of the current times, and it comes back to the point 1 on the emotional connection. It can go both ways. I agree with Joost there. Currently, I think people like to know the person who's behind the CV much more than before, and marital status and maybe even kids or dogs or godchildren are kind of an additional information people appreciate. LinkedIn, Stack Overflow, links, nationality, work permit. I, as a Swiss recruiter, like to know the nationality, especially because in Switzerland, we are outside of the European Union, and I need to check whether it's a third country application or it's a within European Union application. Even if it's a within European Union blue card application, it can vary whether I get the work permit for Switzerland or not. Tech stack as well, like Joost said. Languages, oral languages. Switzerland especially has 4 national languages, and of course we work in English. So I'd like to have that on the CV. Work experience, there also leadership experiences and agile methodologies would be great to be emphasized. Leadership experience for me can also be that you were leading a project team within your university group, and you were gaining first leadership skills there. So it doesn't always need to be like line leadership. And agile methodologies, Joost has also emphasized on that. Educational certifications, especially in Corona times when CVs get very much compared, the more certifications you can put on your CVs, the better. Work examples and hobbies. There I'm a big fan of hobbies, and the more detailed, the better. My personal history there is that when I graduated from university, I was applying for a big financial services company. That's what you usually do when you're in Zurich, and had to compete against the business management students. And I personally studied political science as my first major. And first thought, I wouldn't make sense at all that I would even apply. I did orienteering back then, and for those of you who might not know what orienteering means, it's running through the forest in any weather, any condition, and look for flags and posts, stamp tab, and then run forward. So it's kind of a pretty dirty hobby, or kind of you get pretty dirty and are outside a lot. And of course, my CV picture looked a bit similar like I look now in the video. So the contradiction that was given through my nice CV picture with then like 25 and the hobby as orienteering And my then Accenture boss, who did orienteering himself, actually got me the interview and then got me the first job. So there as well, it's really this emotional connectiveness that can be created through hobbies when hiring managers, people who read the CV, have similar hobbies. Which are the most challenging factors for job seeking now? Could I also get a few answers here? What do you think is currently in the Corona and COVID-19 times the most challenging factors for us to consider when we apply? Mhm. I get some answers. Most companies are on pause and stopped hiring. That's a valid point. I'll come to that a bit later, Andre. Volume of applicants, Kurzarbeit. Yeah, that's the short-time work. Yep. Yes, I think excellent 3 points. And I think it's a combination of actually all of them. I would cover it in the point saying there's more applications that anybody can handle and less work. So previously we kind of had a war for talents, and now it's slightly shifting towards a war for jobs with war for talents combined. The work permits are a challenge, especially for Switzerland, but also for some European countries, because the people who are actually working on the work permits are also on Kurzarbeit, and some of them are totally overfloated. The hiring freeze, thanks a lot, that has been mentioned. I also see the headhunter and agency role changing in the way that if you were a very senior profile, you could rely on pretty good pre-work from headhunters and agencies, that they would also support you in searching for good companies. Now the budget cuts and the Kurzarbeit and hiring freezes, those make costs for headhunters almost impossible, in the way that it's also a cost cut on headhunter and agencies, and it's much more important that you yourself do all the applications yourself. It can even be that when you go through a headhunter or an agency, you might not get the interview, whereas if you would have applied yourself, you would get the role because the costs can't be covered by the company. Active search direct application comes to the point I've been mentioning before. Now it's really kind of a tighter war for talent, in the way that the volume of applications, like you said already when I asked the question, the volume of applications is way too high. So whereas I would say I got one good application in 20 applications previously, it's maybe 1 in 100 or 1 in 200 right now, or even 0. So the active search from the companies is increasing, and the direct application is very welcome. Direct application, also called Spontanbewerbung in German, means that you proactively also contact the company. That can well be that you write me via LinkedIn, or you write directly to the company without even having a job published. Talent pool, I put that here because of the hiring freeze. Those positions might come up. They might come up in a few weeks, months, nobody really knows. It's really depending on the income of the company, and that can literally change within a few weeks and months. So if your CV is within the company and has actually been pre-screened and been seen as pretty great, you are in the talent pool when a job opens, and you can be one of the first to be contacted then to start the recruiting process. My recommendations to be a succeeding job seeker in COVID-19 times is to be flexible on salary and also on work modules. I see a shift that might go into contracting much more because company cannot afford to hire full time, and also that you might only have to be able to work 60% or 80% in the beginning, like the Kurzarbeit people, and might be able to increase then later. So I highly recommend to be also flexible when discussing job positions on salary and work modules. Networking, 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 networking. I can't emphasize it enough. I think there's great opportunities now also virtually, like Tech Meetups organizes today for us. And there's meetups, free meetups in any cities. Maybe you can connect with former mentors, bosses, student colleagues, friends, have a virtual coffee, have a virtual apero, have a walk if you're allowed to do that in your country, and spread the word that you're interested in job opportunities. People are very open to help. People love to help when they know that you are looking. Also, when you're, for instance, in a meetup on talent development or being any other topic you're interested in, when you introduce yourself, I would say, hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm from Zurich. I work as a career coach and talent acquisition manager, and I'm currently really open to seek for new opportunities. So please feel free to contact me later on. That's a kind of open and authentic way to just say I'm open, but I'm not like searching actively. And the education certifications, I've mentioned that before already. There's excellent webinars by great universities or other providers where you can do great programs now. So it can be a certification or just a normal education. I recommend you also summarize great programs that might not be certified in your CV. The more knowledge you show also on the CV, the more likely you get invited to an interview. The 3 golden rules for successful job seeking from my view are the following. Be visible and raise your voice, also especially when in meetups, when in meetings. So also when you might be interested in seeking new jobs internally, speak up more in meetings, or apply. Meaning that if you love a company, you've heard they might be looking, or you have a colleague there, ask them, send the CV, contact them on LinkedIn, be visible. Be yourself. Show which part you're comfortable with, but just really don't try to be somebody you're not, and be authentic. Then be creative. Joost has already mentioned that before, so I love that we both cover that. For me, this first impression and this virtual handshake in the CV form is a first impression. And if you are a colorful person, then I'd love to see that on the CV. Yes, it's important that I can also see your skills, but it's also very important that I can see who you are. I have a short video here. Time-wise, I will only show a few seconds, but you will get the presentation later and then can also see the full video later. I hope you can hear it. Otherwise, please tell me.
I think it's muted. I can't hear it.
Is it?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay. I'll just, good. So the guy is actually waiting in the room here to get picked up for the interview, and not sure who's actually sitting next to him, and kind of trying to get prepared. Now there's a guy coming in. It It's actually only sound, so nobody's talking. Now he's saying hi, introducing himself, and saying, hi, how are you? Hi, I'm James. I'll stop here. You can take a look later. What I like to show with the video is that you never know who you're meeting, who's actually reading your CV. Joost has also pointed to that. And especially now in the virtual world, you can not know who, in what shape the person is and who is actually the recipient of your application. It's an interesting and challenging video when you see it like it's being filmed, and I would recommend you watch it once, and then I would recommend you think how you would act if you had a similar situation in a virtual world, because it challenges you even more when you kind of expect a person to be head of development and to look a certain way, and then you turn on the video camera and the person looks totally different way. My recommendation here is, before you have a video interview, ask the recruiter, what is the rule? Who's there? Who will participate? Will I meet them one-to-one? Are they all together in the video call? Is there a Q&A session? Am I allowed to ask the question immediately? What is the dress code? What are the languages? Is there anything else I need to think about and prepare myself? Because you miss these environmental impressions that you see in the video, and I showed you a few seconds. You don't have that on the video interview situation. So the more information you gain before, the more comfortable you are and the better you can also perform. So on the formal application, I highly recommend a motivational letter, especially in the current times, because it gives additional information why you want to go work for a company. Like Joost already said, it's important that you put the message that you want to work for that company and why that position is perfect for you. So I recommend that you start every letter with exactly this part, and that's almost 1/3 of the letter, and then you would come a bit to who you are and what your track record is. Ready within 4 hours relates to the point that I've made on networking as well. So when you see a great job, apply within 4 hours. If you have a meetup or you meet somebody for lunch who says, hey, I have heard something, can you send me the CV? The faster you have it ready and you have it sent through, the better. The direct approach: send strong CVs when you think the company is great and it could be a great match. Be proactive and contact the company and send them your CV, even though you might not see the perfect role out there yet. And active sourcing reply: if you get contacted by recruiters, you might not be interested, I would highly recommend you still reply, you make the connection, you answer, maybe not for this role, do you have anything else? The more contact you have, the bigger network you have, the stronger. No typos, of course, nor dear Madam Concern in letters, and if you send a CV via email, it's always important that it's a CV attached and not just an email. I think I'm at the end already. Yes. And I'm happy to take questions here.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alexandra. This was very nice and informative. And we have a couple of questions. So the first one was from Niels. Niels, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question? Let me just...
Yes, hello.
Oh.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. Yeah, about the meetups, and I'm also into like networking personally with the people and so on. But right now we have something called Ausgangssperre and limitations of movement. So virtual meetups, do you know anything like this? Like, I don't know, I imagine a chat room where you meet this kind of people without actually meeting them and infecting them or getting infected and so on.
In Zurich, most of the meetups are virtually now. So we have talent development meetups. We have work within Switzerland meetups. So I would recommend that you check the meetup page and check if they have virtual options. And if not, maybe even challenge them and ask them if that's an option, because Zoom has free accounts now for 40 minutes. So I think it would be great to, if it's not possible yet, to start it.
Thank you. I think Niels had one more question about the CV and cover letter.
Yes, yeah. Should the CV and the cover letter be one file, and you write additionally in the email, welcome or hello, and the following, the email will include, like, it's always feeling super fluid, like to write in the email, yes, blah, 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 and then adding the cover letter to the CV. But I heard sometimes the cover letter and the CV might get lost, so they should be attached or be in one file.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Good question, Niels. In an email, yes, I would recommend to only send one attachment. In case you would also add certifications, please put them all in one PDF. If you apply via a job portal, it might need to be 2 files so you can upload them into sections.
Thanks, but what do you write in the email then? If you like.
Good afternoon, Alexandra. Here you find my application. I look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I just shared the YouTube link of the video that Alexandra was sharing in her presentation, so you can have a look at it on YouTube as well.